whether or not you do believe in reincarnation or not, I think it's fair to like look at the scope of the universe and the world and the earth and say, hey, maybe we all make it to 85. That is still not a long period of time to be on this earth. So in those 85, maybe longer years, you have a few birthdays that significantly stand out in your lifetime. Welcome, I'm Elise.
And I'm Jess, and this is Spiritual Alchemy,
the podcast where we explore the intersection of science and spirituality
and how it shapes our everyday lives.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Elise.
Today, we have a special episode because my beautiful co-host here is celebrating
my birthday.
So today we're talking about the magic of birthdays.
Yeah. What an exciting time.
As her voice cadences down. What an exciting time.
An exciting time.
I think it's a joy getting older. I think we live in a society where, you know, the early 2000s, I think women were we were pressured to look a certain way, stay young, never tell your age. And I feel like millennial women are really reclaiming that.
Oh, I say I've earned these laugh lines. I've earned and I don't have that many yet, but like I've earned every gray hair. I've earned every little wrinkle. Like I would like to think about aging gracefully versus trying to stay young. Like I've been there, done that, you know? Like I also do really truly feel like I age like a fine wine. I'm just getting better and better, baby.
Yeah.
And I personally don't feel like the number of my age is a very scary thing. I think sometimes I'm like, wow, really? Like it's more like bewilderment. Like I think like because I will share my age. I am turning 32.
Woo!
And I'm really excited for this age. And I remember turning 30. And 30 so far, listen, for our friends in their 20s or like who have not hit 30 yet, 30s are your 20s but better. 30s are your 20s, but you got it kind of figured out. You've been through a lot. You've got a lot more wisdom and you just kind of approach life differently. But like personally, I started my 30s and I was like, hey, guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy. Don't care what anybody thinks about it. And like, very freeing. I do kind of still sometimes catch myself being a little like, how am I being perceived right now? But I'm also like, again, who cares? Like, live your life, be your authentic self. I think that's really what the joy of 30 has brought me is that I feel like I really truly am just unapologetically living my true authentic life.
Good. Yeah, I'm cruising in my 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a little more gray hairs. So every time a new one pops up, I go, oh. But I love history. If people listening, if you haven't realized yet that I am such a little history nerd, you know, up until just 100, 150 years ago, people did not live into their 60s, 70s, 80s as consistently as our society is now living. So when you think about that across ancient history, you know, to be an elder with wrinkle laugh lines and sun lines and gray hair, I mean, it is an honor. Mm-hmm. It is an honor to wear the skin, to have my gray hair, to age with the universe.
Yeah.
Everything ages. Everything changes over time. It should be celebrated that our bodies and our physical form changes because
Yeah.
it's saying, hey, I've been here longer. I know some shit. I'm wiser now.
Yeah.
And here's the physical proof to show what I've learned
Yeah.
and what I know.
Well, think about too, like collectibles, like things that hold more value with age. Your home generally gets more valuable
Antiques.
in time. Antiques get more value. Yeah. So yes, age it's something to celebrate. And I would say like getting the privilege of getting to be this age holds a lot of weight for me too. And that, we're here, we're doing it. And what's really cool about kind of the origins of birthday traditions, because why would we celebrate going around a year? Like, where did that tradition start? Like, why is this something that is so celebrated? And even as, let's take it to this route, it's like we fear getting older, yet we still celebrate every year. We go around the sun, and these milestone birthdays of getting over the hill, 60, getting to your 70s. We mark each year to know. So what's the contradiction? But where did it start?
So birthdays as we know them today it's evolved significantly over time from ancient cultures. Birthdays weren't widely celebrated. The ancient Greeks and Egyptians didn't celebrate as we do today, but they did have celebrations around deities or gods. And I would also argue in ancient cultures, like the significance of the summer solstice, they had more celebrations around the church and their, what is the word? Their traditions. They had more celebrations around their culture and their traditions than they did like individual birthdays, right? In ancient Egypt, birthdays among the common folk were not celebrated, but the pharaoh's birthday was a big deal. But in ancient Egypt, a pharaoh was seen as a god. So it would make sense that they celebrated the pharaoh's birthday because they were also celebrating like their god's birthdays.
And like their divinity. Yeah.
And they would celebrate by giving offerings to either a god's birthday or to the pharaoh. So like the idea of gifts, right? And then in ancient Greece, they adopted kind of the same practice from the Egyptians as celebrating their gods, but then they started celebrating their birthdays as a way to like honor the gods. And my fun fact is the practice of birthday cakes started with the Greeks. Round cakes were offered to Artemis, the moon goddess, symbolizing the moon.
Oh, wow.
I wonder why we would celebrate the moon as an idea of like time.
Yeah. Crazy.
Maybe because the moon cycle changes every 28 days and it is the one thing that can be counted upon for time.
Yeah.
The sun rises and the sun sets, but
the moon tells us what time of the year we're in, where it is in the sky, and the phase that it's in. It changes phases.
So how interesting. Round birthday cakes come from the Greeks.
Interesting.
Symbolizing and celebrating the moon goddess Artemis.
You know that I hate cake.
I think I did know that.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
I have a couple friends who don't like cake.
Yeah, I think it's just like it's not my favorite food.
Meanwhile, I shoved like 3 cupcakes in my face last night celebrating my friend's birthday.
Cupcakes are different though. Cupcakes are different. It's like cake that just really doesn't do it for me.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm like a pie person. Like I like birthday pie. Love pie.
Love pie.
Yeah. Anyway,
so where we went from Egypt to Greece, let's go to Rome. The Romans were the first civilization to celebrate birthdays for the general public. The traditions expanded to include both men and women, but there were restrictions about who could celebrate. So the Romans, same, celebrated by giving gifts or offerings, sacrifices to gods. Men celebrated their birthdays with public feasts, while women's birthdays weren't widely acknowledged. I
Hmm.
wonder why, as a civilization and as a society as a whole, women feel like they can't celebrate their birthday.
Can't age.
We can't age.
That feels like a very like generational trauma. Interesting.
And then in medieval times, and the Dark Ages, birthdays were not celebrated. Because I did not know this. I looked this up yesterday. Birthdays weren't celebrated because the belief that marking the passage of time was a sin.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot to unpack. I don't think we have to unpack it. Just like, I'm going to say that again. In the medieval times, they didn't celebrate birthdays because acknowledging the passage of time was sinful.
That is wild.
Wild, if you think about it.
Oh, we're gonna have to do a deep dive on that.
And then one of my favorite times in history, just because it was huge for art and music, the Renaissance period. Birthdays gained more popularity. The avant-garde idea of card giving, parties, individualized rituals, what you wanted to, like, when you ask somebody, like, hey,
What do you want to do for your birthday?
what do you want to do for your birthday? That started in the Renaissance.
Mm.
And then by the 19th century, birthday parties were more mainstream, especially in Western societies, with the practices of singing happy birthday, having cake, moon cake, I'm going to call it moon cake now, and giving gifts. So is your birthday? Are we celebrating this year?
Not a big celebration this year. I think I'm kind of done with the big celebrations. Like 30 was the one that I had that I was like, big group of friends, all went out. Like I did a little something last year that was again still celebratory, but like I feel like I want to do this year. Very much I'm called to like spend it with like my core people. My favorite birthday that I ever had, I think it was 26. My 26th birthday was my favorite birthday. I did do a celebration like later in the week, but the actual day I went to work. Nobody made a big deal about it. I don't think I even mentioned it to anybody. And I like went to work. I went and took myself to I got like a sauna, like a spa thing. And then I went and picked up my favorite food from my favorite restaurant and like ordered a little slice of, I was like super vegan at the time. So it was like my favorite vegan restaurant. And I got like a vegan key lime cheesecake and put a candle on it. And I just like sat in my little house and I was like, this is perfect. This is all I want, just to acknowledge it. But like, I'm not a person that needs a huge celebration. I love to be celebrated. It is such the celebrations that I've had when a lot of people have shown up for me, it has warmed my heart so much because I'm like, oh my gosh, look how loved I am. And look at all these people who want to celebrate me. And what I do find is that the people that truly matter in life are the ones who show up for you. But that's the thing. I'm like, I prefer an intimate birthday. I prefer to just keep it with people that I really, truly go around the sun with.
I mean, my partner has a birthday, but do you know when he celebrates his birthday? 4th of July. Don't even begin to ask, but that's my favorite because it's
not his birthday.
But it's a time when everybody is together.
Oh, that's cute.
So instead of kind of what you're saying, instead of making it this big thing, he looks at a time when like we're all kind of together. Everybody's off from work anyway. And every year I look at him and I go, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Get him,
That's cute.
I know. And well, now he's done it so much that like people are like, is that his birthday? I'm like, no. But, rework it to what works with your life. If that's when he wants to be around people and hear happy birthday, then we celebrate it July 4th, even though that's nowhere near his birthday.
Oh, yeah.
But in the same way that like you can get together at any time.
It's so true. And like I'm laughing at myself now because like there's a lot of like traditions that we do, like as a society, as people, that I just like think are so weird. Like these silly little traditions that we have
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, they, I just don't enjoy them. But like the singing of happy birthday is like my nightmare. I hate when people sing happy birthday to me. And I don't like hate it. It's just like I don't know what to do. It's like you're singing at me and I'm just sitting there like,
It is one of, as a musician, I will tell you, it is one of the most difficult songs, like tonality and musicality wise. And to graduate my freshman year, like piano's final, I had to play Happy Birthday in every single key. And I was like, I'm going to rip my hair out
it is,
because it's horrific.
it's a horrific song. It doesn't sound, it sounds so somber and depressing. But what I actually started doing as a joke like a few years ago is that when people started singing happy birthday to me, I started like dancing to it, like real just what
Ratchet.
just or just like kind of like groove into it because I'm like, what do you expect me to do? Like you're singing to me and I'm just gonna sit there? Like, no, I'm gonna
I have
dance it out.
So I come from a family of musicians, and growing up when we had birthdays, like everybody can sing, everybody can play instruments, yet for some reason when they would sing happy birthday, everyone would try to sing it horribly off key.
Yep.
So it actually made it really funny. And now look at me, like I'm beaming when I think back to that, but I'm like, how funny that I was a child and I didn't even really understand, like, hey, happy birthday is a shitty song, but there's every musician in my family screaming at the top of their lungs, like singing it absolutely horrible.
Is it Stevie Wonder who does
Happy birthday to ya? Yeah, like
that's a way better version.
Happy birthday. Yeah, I've got a friend who calls me and sings that to me every year.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, just for anybody interested, has its roots in the late 19th century. So it's like barely even 100 years old.
Wow.
It was written by two American sisters, Mildred J. Hill, a kindergarten teacher, and Patty Hill, a principal.
Mildred and Patty.
Yeah, they were sisters. And they originally wrote the song to Good Morning to All. And it was written in 1893. They intended it as a simple greeting for young children. And at some point in the early 1900s, people started singing new lyrics to it, the Happy Birthday to You, using the same melody. And then by the 1920s, it had become a popular tradition at birthday parties. And then there were legal battles. I did not know this. And legal battles over who owned the rights to Happy Birthday.
Wow.
But in 2016, a U.S. judge ruled that the song was in public domain, meaning anyone could use it freely.
Wow.
I still hate the song.
No, it's again, it is my nightmare when people sing it to me. It's also my sing it to me and give me cake. Oh.
Okay, so I will know what not to do for you.
Oh, yes. Just sing me the Stevie Wonder. Happy birthday to ya. That's so much better.
That's how it needs to be done.
Again, I still just think it's a strange tradition. And I'm entitled to that opinion.
So it wouldn't be spiritual alchemy without talking about astrological birthdays to look forward to in your very short lifespan on Earth. Whether or not you do believe in reincarnation or not, I think it's fair to like look at the scope of the universe and the world and the Earth and say, hey, maybe we all make it to 85. That is still not a long period of time to be on this Earth. So in those 85, maybe longer years, you have a few birthdays that significantly stand out in your lifetime, or should.
What I'll also kind of just simplify is these astrological birthdays are, think of like your birthday is the return to where the sun was when you were born, your birthday. These are more kind of periods of time when certain planets and certain positions in your chart will return to the place where they were when you were born. And it's like, for example, your Saturn return is when Saturn returns to the position where it was when you were born. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about Saturn return, Elise?
I love Saturn return. I just said to Jess before we started recording this, I feel like Saturn returns are becoming more mainstream.
Mhm.
So Saturn is in the same placement in the sky as it is every 28 and a half to about 29 years. It differs. It's not exact. So Saturn returns to the same placement it was in the sky when you were born at around maybe like 28 and a half.
Well, what's important too is to remember that it's not just where the exact position is, but it's also the shadow period. So it
Mm-hmm.
this Saturn return will happen from the age of 28 to 30 because you have the shadow before and then the actual period of the Saturn return and then you have the shadow of the
Yeah.
return.
And I like to think of it as like just a clean house for karmic lessons,
Mm-hmm.
tying it back to, the last episode of Karmic Lessons. And what I like the idea of Saturn returns becoming more mainstream is I feel like in the past 50 years, and people can feel free to challenge me, people in their late 20s and early 30s were busy being married and having children and like forging their careers.
Why do you think the divorce rate went up so high in that time?
Because people were just trying to make it work.
Because people were not, I'm going to say, like, not getting fully cooked in the sense that they were not in your 20s. Your 20s are such a period of lessons and a period to discover yourself, a time of self discovery. And when you stifle that self discovery by focusing on, and not to say that this is wrong, because this is not everybody, I'm generalizing here,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes when you get married or start a partnership or try to start a family and be a parent before you're ready, before you've fully cooked, when you get to this age of like suddenly you're 30 and you're like, well, what have I done with all my 20s?
Mm-hmm.
I raised a family and now that family is probably getting to a point where they're starting to get ready to get out of the house and move on with their lives. And your whole life has been setting up this life for someone else. Or maybe you changed with your partner and you're not the same people that you were when you were 22. Yeah, I think that it's the Saturn return is so significant because you're reflecting on all the lessons that you've had to learn in your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like you grow up, you learn your limiting beliefs. Then you get out into the world, and I use air quotes, the world, get into the real world, and you have to then break down all those beliefs to come up with your own set of beliefs
And forge forward
and
as your
forge
own.
forward as your own. And then also, it's kind of like, hey, here are these last few things holding you back from your fullest potential.
So I love Saturn returns. I could talk about them till I'm blue in the face. I welcomed my Saturn return in my 29th birthday. I took myself to a hotel on the beach
Ooh,
under a full moon, all
Yeah.
by myself up the coast.
Love
I
it.
was like, I'm ready. I want to just shed everything
Oh, yeah.
and start over. And I felt it. Like I knew I was like, if I do the work this year, I'm gonna be golden.
I had been working at a meditation studio, not while I was going through my Saturn return, but when I was 26, and they were like, "Oh, you're coming up on your Saturn return. This is what it is." And I was fully prepared, and I was also very excited to begin that work and to check in on those lessons. And whew, I felt like I passed a lot of my tests. I feel like I had to redo a little bit, but I think again what I came out of on the other side was stronger, better, celebratory of like, yeah, we made it through this first run.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. There's another key thing in astrology
Okay.
when it comes to birthdays and years of your life, annual perfections. So,
I have heard about this, but I don't know much about it actually.
well, let me give you a little crash course.
Sounds good.
Because I'm not going to go into super deep detail because I know we're here to talk about birthdays, but I think that this is a cool concept and especially tying it into astrology. So, annual perfections in the context of astrology, it's the timing technique that suggests each year is associated with a specific astrological house.
Okay.
So it highlights the corresponding area of your life that will be the most prominent. And this Time Lord for the year can provide insights into your year's central theme and focus. When I say Time Lord, I mean the ruler of that year for you. So, for example, it's based on astrology houses. You have 12 houses in your astrological chart. Everybody has 12 houses. Annual perfections correspond to a specific astrological house, creating a 12-year cycle.
Okay.
So it starts at year 1 and goes through all the years. So the house that is active in that year, plus the ruler of that house in your chart, can provide insights onto themes, challenges, opportunities that may arise during that period.
Okay.
So I'm going to use my chart as an example. I'm a Gemini rising. I'm turning 32 this year, which means that the 9th house is going to be activated.
How did you calculate the 9th house?
You can look it up.
Okay.
Yep. So you just look it up. It's online. You can just look up annual perfections chart. What you're specifically looking for is your rising sign.
Okay.
Because that's what it'll tell you what ruler, but you can also just look at your own personal chart. I looked at my personal chart because the ruler that was given to me on the sites that I looked at was not the correct ruler.
Got it.
My wheel is shifted a little bit. So the ruler that they say is my 9th house is actually the ruler of my 10th house, and the ruler of my 8th rules my 8th.
It's just a little.
Yeah. So my 8th and 9th house are ruled by Capricorn. So the 9th house is activated for me. So in general, the 9th house is dominated by Sagittarius and Jupiter.
Cool.
So think of it's the planet of fortune and expansiveness. Sagittarius is like philosophical, focuses on education, long distance travel, expanding your horizons. I always think of Sagittarius energy as like very like adventurous.
They're so adventurous.
They're so adventurous and like hard to pin down, stay in one place, but like love to experience things. Like to me, Sagittarius is like the quintessential traveler. That is who I picture. Like they love to go to new places and try new things and like experience new cultures and like fully immerse in that. So since my 9th house is in Capricorn, in astrology, Capricorn signifies like strong focus on long-term goals, ambitions, and a desire for a stable, structured life. So with this in the 9th house, we've combined those themes of travel, higher education, philosophical exploration, kind of ties to what we're doing here. And it suggests that there's this disciplined pursuit of knowledge and personal growth, often seeking to establish a solid foundation through education, travel, or the exploration of different belief systems.
I want to know what my annual perfection is.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I've never really even like thought to look this up.
Yeah. And it just gives you insights on like themes that'll be heavy. So like what I interpret from that is that, and the other thing that came across here was like spiritual authority, forward thinking.
I mean, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? And I'm like, how beautiful that is tied to exactly where we are now. And, you know, just the expanding of horizons, like looking at things like, yeah, that all aligns with where I feel like I am going in this next year. But I just think it's a cool way, because then you can also think about, you know, you think about setting the tone, creating your own rituals for your birthday. Like, I love this idea of like maybe find a theme in your perfection year and welcome that year by doing a celebration that is reflective of this.
I just looked up mine real fast.
What is yours?
I'm in my 8th house perfection year.
Currently.
Yeah.
So we're both in our 8th house. We're the same age. So it's less about your age, because like everyone who's 31 will be in their 8th house perfection year.
Okay.
Everyone who's turning 32 will be in their 9th house, and so on and so on.
Right.
It's more about the ruler of your 8th house. So what does your chart say? That's
my Libra, and there is nothing in my 8th house in there. But
remember.
Libra is ruled by Venus.
Mm-hmm.
So Venus is my time lord. Love saying
Yeah.
that, my time lord.
Venus is your time lord. So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is my time lord. Which Saturn is the planet of karma and just like,
Makes sense.
yeah.
It's just so interesting to me how you can use astrology to like really dive in and hopefully just look at your ages in a different way and dive deep. Like Jess just taught us into your perfection. What is it called again? Annual perfection.
Annual perfection.
But just to throw a few other numbers to all of our listeners, your Chiron return is ages 50 to 52. Your Jupiter return is around 12 and 24. North Node return 18 and 36, and then keep doing the math on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, I always like going back, like we always keep talking, find your pattern, find your pattern, find your pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Look at these years.
Yeah.
Go back if you're in your 30s or if you're in your 50s, go back and look at these, what was happening at 12 and 24. Are there any correlations? What was happening at 18 and 36? Anything similar for people in their second Saturn return?
18 is what? Your Chiron?
Your North Node return.
Ooh.
Your soul's mission or purpose.
So I was going through a lot in my 18th
right?
year.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. And North Nodes are the direction that you're going in life.
Soul's mission.
So I also, again, we kind of go back to our karmic lessons and things like that. And I'm just going to share, like, my 18th year was probably one of the hardest years that I'd been through.
Oof.
I started college and quit college. I went through a very dark, depressed period. I was like in a relationship that was like on again, off again.
Is that you're grieving your friend?
I was grieving my friend.
Yeah.
And dealing with a lot of grief and dealing with a lot of like uncertainty, and like I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was dancing. I was doing that, but I was like, I remember so distinctly being like, but what happens after that? I'm not going to be able to dance forever. Because I know that the lore of dance is that you can only do it when you're so young and your body's able to. And I was very worried about where I was going. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? I was so fixated on my life's purpose. And how funny that I felt like at 18, so much of my life crumbled around me. And it feels like the universe, like I was a little pinball in a pinball machine. The universe just kept kind of slapping me around. And then I eventually found my way. But yeah, that was...
No, your North Node return is... I just started looking at North Nodes this year. I didn't really know much about them. But we had a North and South Node shift back in January of 2025. Can't remember the exact date. But North Node went into Pisces, South Node went into Virgo.
Yeah.
And I am a Pisces, and my partner is a Virgo. And yes, every opposite on, the astrological chart, it's your perfect opposite, directly across. Man, Pisces and Virgos, we're really different.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting year.
Yeah.
I think it feels like the ethereal and like whimsical feeling of Pisces in the North Node is really descending upon a lot of different people who are questioning, what are they doing? What are my dreams? What have I dreamt? What can I step into as my dream? And it's kind of cool to watch that North Node of Pisces fall over everybody.
Yeah.
But like, look at go look up where your North Node is. And,
I know where.
That's the listeners.
The audience.
You know where your North Node is.
I was like, I know where I'm going. I'm a Sagittarius North Node.
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, it's the worst one.
I know.
It's okay. We'll get you through it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So, setting intentions for specific years, whether or not you want to use astrology to set intentions, or if you just want to like look at your year, because it's Jess's birthday, and you can either share with us or like just take a moment, like
that would
share with us your intentions for this next year.
Yeah, that would be like, me?
If you want.
Okay. Yeah, I was also going to say I would love as a birthday present if everyone would comment what their goals are for their next year,
Yes.
or like what's your favorite way to celebrate your birthday. And I'll share my I haven't thought about this yet. But that is, I would say, a tradition that I actually started recently, is when I'm at a birthday celebration, I I always ask the birthday person, what are you calling in this year and what are you letting go of?
Oh,
What did the last year teach you and where would you like to see yourself go in the next year? So
I love
I'll
that.
ask myself that question. I think that this year I've really let go of other people's opinions of me. I really
Scram.
scram. I mean, it's just more as like the understanding that there are versions of you that exist in other people's minds that are not real, that are not you. They're made up. And I now kind of joke that I'm like, you know what? Other people's opinions of me don't matter. But it's like, I'm like, I joke about it now that I'm like, oh, I love to hear some lore about me. I love to hear the fan theories.
I love it.
So I'm like, other people's opinions of me that are incorrect. I'm like, oh, that's a fan theory. That's that's just the fans, you know. And it's like it's a silly thing, and it has really helped me let go and care even less than I already did. But I just kind of caught myself falling back into that pattern, and I was like, you know what? I'm the only person that I need to impress. I'm the only person that I need to be okay with. The only person who needs to be okay with me is me,
Mm-hmm.
because I got to live with me every single day,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Preach it.
And that was what I would say I'm letting go. What I'm calling in is
Bring it in.
I'm bringing in abundance. And I'm bringing in so much abundance that I will be able to share that abundance with the people I love and the world. I want to do something that gives back to our community. And again, it's like I want so much abundance that I don't know what to do with it. So all I can do is pour it out onto others.
Preach
And
it.
know that my cup is always full and will always be full.
That's gonna perfectly.
Wish.
I'm gonna change some of these journal prompts on the fly. I
Ooh.
think everyone, you need to journal about, even if it's not your birthday or close to your birthday, what are you letting go of this year?
Mm-hmm.
What are you calling in? And then the third question, can you think of a significant birthday, whether it be your Saturn return, your Chiron return, your Jupiter return, and you can look all these up and we'll post about them as well. Can you recall a birthday that really feels like it slingshotted you into a different direction, that changed your trajectory in this life? A moment, a celebration, maybe something sad or happened. Just find one and see if you can be like, hey, this was my year that this happened. I like that.
I love that.
So happy birthday to Jess.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you at the next one. Thanks for joining us today. We're so glad you were here. For more information on our episodes and to connect with us on social media, follow us at Spiritual Alchemy Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Stay golden!